Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's SS454LS6 here. As you can see, it's sunny out, it's getting warm, which means it's time to start working on the Chevelle. I'm not quite ready to put the distributor in just yet, so I'm going to start working on a different project, which anybody that's seen some of my previous videos may know that I'm having some problems with the drive shaft contacting the floor because just where the U-joint is very, very close into the tunnel. And it's not a big deal, it's not that bad, but it's enough I don't like it. So, in hopes to gain a little bit of clearance and maybe stiffen things up, we're going to change the body mounts as well as the transmission and motor mounts. So, I'll show you what I got. So as you can see, I went with Energy Suspension, and the reason I went with them is because apparently they have a slightly lower durometer for the bushings, which means that they're going to be slightly softer than some of the competitors, but still roughly double as stiff as the rubber counterpart. Now, I went with part number 3.4170G for the body mounts, which means they're black. And some people say that the black ones are impregnated with graphite, and at least when it comes to Energy Suspension, I don't really buy it. I think black is black and red is red. So I just prefer the black, so that's the ones I went with. As for the motor mounts, transmission mount, I went with kit number 3.1122G. Again, they are black. So, because I'm running a 71 Chevelle with a big block, I had to go with the tall and narrow. And this is the comparison between the originals that came off the car. These are much lighter. So, I don't know how much lighter, but a lot lighter. I have heard that this weld in here, right, I don't know if you can see that, but I heard that can cause some interference issues, but we will see if that is true once we get to put it in. Now, another thing to note is because I'm going to be running a urethane transmission mount, they say you have to have the engine mounts to be stiffer than your transmission mounts, or at least equal or stiffer. Otherwise, you risk cracking your transmission. So, for me, I am already running a solid Moroso motor mount on the driver's side, so combined with my urethane passenger side, I should be just fine. So that's what I have, so it's time to start pulling the old stuff off and putting the new stuff in. Now this is something not everybody likes to do, but I like to read the instructions first. I recommend it. This is the location mount that I'm going to be doing first, and this is the bundle of parts I'm going to do it with. And Energy Suspension labels the bushing so it tells you what goes with what, and so it makes it really, really easy. It does not say anything about any kind of lubrication. There's no grease even included in the kit. But everybody knows that polyurethane is known for being squeaky, so I'm going to grease up any of the metal surfaces that touch the urethane material, just in hopes that maybe it'll be squeak free and maybe it's a bit of preventative maintenance. So I put a jack underneath the body of the car with a 4x4 block, and all I'm doing is just jacking it up just to take the pressure off the body mount up here. And I've already tested it. This is already quite loose, so I can get in here with a 5/8 and I should be able to zip this off. And there we go. It looks like the bushing has already started to deteriorate quite a lot, as you can see. For the body mount that's found on the firewall location, you can see I had to pull out my inner fender to get access to this little access hole right there, because there is a square cage nut that's there that is not surrounded by a cage, and you need to get a 1-inch wrench around that to stop it from spinning when you loosen off the bolt. As you can see, I've already put on the new bushing, and now I get the fun of putting the fender back together. For the motor mount, I wasn't even sure if it was possible to swap this out with the engine still in the car, but it turns out it is doable. What I did was I supported the engine with my transmission jack underneath the oil pan, and then I used my other jack and lifted the passenger side header to twist the engine enough that I could get the original motor mount out. Once that was done, I was able to put this guy back in. Now you must include this backing plate because it's not a spacer, it's a backing plate, so that is required. I did no modifications to this motor mount, it fit without problems. And I will say it is far easier to install that than it was to remove the original. I just put in a little blue Loctite on the bolts just to ensure they don't come out, and that was that. As for the transmission mount, It's basically out with the old, in with the new, so I'm not going to bother to show that. So quick comparison with the old bushings versus the new bushings. You can see the old ones really weren't in too bad a shape. It's just the part that where the bolts go into were kind of roughed up, but the actual part that holds the body up were in relatively decent condition. But the new ones are obviously a little taller, a little thicker, so I do expect a slight increase in ride height. But we'll finish this off and call it a day. So I have the body mounts all in and torqued down. Honestly, it wasn't too hard of a job. Unfortunately for me, the kit that I bought came mispackaged and I had to wait for the correct parts to come in. But now that I have it done, if I were to do it again, there's a couple things that I would do right off the bat. First, I would remove the inner fenders completely. Don't waste the time with fudging around with it. You need to get access to that hole in there to remove that mount in that corner, as shown earlier in the video. So it just makes life a lot easier. The other thing that I would do is loosen off the one side of your frame, the body mounts, and I mean loosen them off a lot, and then completely remove the body mounts on the side that, or completely remove the bolts on the side that you're going to jack up, because it'll make it a lot easier when you go to lift the body off the frame. It'll give you enough clearance to remove the old ones and put the new mounts in without, binding up or snagging or anything like that. These tools made life really easy for me, especially that ratchet when it came to removing the inner fender. That got into all the tight places really easily. Couple things I should mention. I did do a before and after measurement to the body to frame clearance, and it looks like I've gained about 1/2 inch, which is a lot more than I expected. If I go to the tire well here, or the fenders, you can see that gap in there. Now obviously I haven't driven the car. This should settle a little bit with some miles on it, but I have a feeling this is going to be something I'm going to have to address because that is way too high. Another thing I have to address is the inner fenders. So these are the original plastics that I pulled off the car, and you can see all the mounts are gone. They're shot, and this thing's just in rough shape. So if anybody knows of some good aftermarket plastic inner fenders, let me know. I know everybody's going to say go metal. I do not want metal. They're too heavy. I want the weight savings. But yeah, if anybody even has some OEM plastics, let me know in the comments field as well. The last thing I should mention is, if you do this project, don't be surprised if the body moves off the frame, if it shifts. So there's alignment holes. There's one right about there, and there's one right about there on your frame, and it just goes through your goes through the frame into the body. You can use a socket extension, and that can help align it. So if it moves, just shift it back with the the frame or the body slightly off the frame, and it should move relatively easily. I fiddled with mine a bit, but I got it as close as I can. Do I expect any performance difference? No, I don't think it's going to notice a single difference in terms of ride quality or performance, but I do hope that it will stiffen things up a little bit, and hopefully I won't have any more problems with the drive shaft hitting the floor. So if you guys liked the video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you can, and thanks for watching.